big shout out to Exoterics. That's my buddy Matt Scanlon. If you see my chain, if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube right now, my chain that I wear all the time is from Exoterics. Is an incredible human being, Matthew Scanlon. I'm so proud of you. We work together in Chicago. I hired him at a minimum wage position, and he used to always tell me, hey, I'm going to be a fashion designer someday. I'm going to have my own store in LA on Melrose and all these things. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Why don't you just clean the toilet? And I encouraged him, but I was like, man, we got some work to do. But it's amazing to be standing in front of you with his jewelry on. And so it's not just jewelry to me. I'm wearing his dreams. And what it tells me every single time when I put it on is that I'm just not wearing fashion. I'm wearing the dreams that I could come up with in my head. If I can think about it, then it can become a reality if I'm willing to do the work like Matt Scanlon has. So congratulations, Exoterics. I was at the Mandalay Bay years ago. I used to work there, and this guy walked in, and I looked on his wrist, and as I looked down, I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. This dude was wearing, the first time I had ever seen it, outside of a store, and a person actually wearing this watch, he had a Panerai timepiece on, and I looked down, I was like, oh my gosh, a Panerai Italian military issue. Like, it came into America in 1993 because of Sylvester Stallone, and all these things. Like, it was amazing, because I had heard the story in Toronto years ago. And so I said something about the Panerai, and then he just went in, and he started telling me all the features and benefits, why the clasp was the deployment was, and, the type of material that they used to be able to light up the numbers, and how they had to change it, and all these things. He was so excited about it. And he kept telling me all these things. And then I finally got to a point, I was thinking, man, I just complimented you on your watch. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't that big of a deal, but he was so passionate. And then he leaves, and he comes back, and he shows up, and he has a briefcase in his hand. It's a little silver one. He walks up, and I'm with another client, but he just bursts right in, and he opens the case, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to come down and tell you and show you all the watches that I travel with. And I'm thinking, man, this is getting weirder by the second. And so he opens up the case, and he shows me all these ones, and he pulls out one, and he says, this is a Breitling, and this one's very special to me because Jerry Seinfeld used to own this watch. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, right? And then he shows me all these ones. And the last one, he says, go ahead and put this one on. And I had a watch on. I had a Swatch. Like, I was big time at the time. And so he's like, no, take that watch off. And he takes my Swatch off. I said, be careful with it, because, that thing it costs a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's limited edition. But he takes my Swatch off, and then he puts this big old thing on my wrist. And it's I don't know, 44 or 46 millimeters. And it's a Ernst Benz watch, and he tells me the whole story about it. He's like, it looks good. And I was like, yeah, it does. He's like, how does it look? I said, it looks great. He's like, how's it feel? It feels great. He's like, it's yours. And then he just packs up his suitcase, and he walks out the door, and I chased him down, and I was like freaked out, because this watch this watch was very valuable, and I had never bought anything like this. I had a Swatch on my wrist. But I chased him out, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was so excited. And he looked at me very calm. He grabbed me by my shoulders, and he said, if all it took was for you to get a watch, for you to be this happy, someone should have given you a watch a long time ago. And I remember it was almost like a kick to the face. And I had learned 2 lessons with this man today. Number 1, talk about what other people are passionate about. And number 2, if all it takes is a watch to make you happy, somebody else should have given you something like that a long time ago. So what is that watch that you're waiting for? Why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got 2 shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
the Panerai guy changed my life. He kicked me in the face that day too. And he was like, if this is all it takes for you to be that happy, then someone should have given you a watch a long time ago. I was like, man, you could give me one every single day. And I remember running around with that watch on and just being so happy, but it always reminded me to talk about what other people were passionate about and to ask them their questions, be curious about what was going on. And as I sat down today and I read in Proverbs 2, it exemplifies the power, or in Proverbs 1, actually, as I looked at this, it was amazing to be able to see those two things that, the watch that the guy gave me, the Panerai guy gave me, I ended up giving it away later on and blessing someone else, actually my buddy Will. But the lessons that live on in my heart all, for the rest of my life is to talk about what people are passionate about. And then, what is the watch that you're waiting for to be happy? And why don't you figure out a way to be able to go get that thing or just be happy right now before it even comes? And sometimes you could be that blessing to other people too. But the Panerai guy, if you're out there, I never talked to him again. I didn't get his name. I don't remember his name. If you're out there, you're listening to the podcast, I would love to have you on. You know who you are. I love you so much. That Ernst Benz literally changed my life. And, now I get to wear a Panerai because my wife is generous and she's the best gift giver in the world. And Panerai will sponsor the podcast at some point soon. We'll do that, which would be amazing. And then, it would be awesome to be able to have them around. But when I looked at those two lessons, talk about what other people were passionate about, and then don't wait for that thing to arrive to be happy. And in Proverbs 1, it encourages us and reminds us that everything is going to be cool. Be good to people because he has your watch on the way. And that guy was good to me. The Panerai guy was so good to me. It was an awesome experience. I'm beaming right now. If you're not watching, if you're listening, I've got a huge smile on my face. I hope you can feel it even if you're just listening. But it was such a blessing. In my life. So, also to station identification, if you haven't, subscribe to the Substack, go ahead and do that. We have the Vibe Experience on the 12th of April, which is coming. Tickets haven't been released yet. They will sell out. The way to be able to get a ticket complimentary is by becoming a founding member of our Substack. So hop over to that. It's a place where I send out a newsletter, and the newsletter is in my handwriting, and it's encouraging words of wisdom. And the reason why is because my parents always gave me those encouraging words, and I wanted to give them to every single other person. So if you do that, check out the Substack, and also check out Roy Tuscany with the High Fives Foundation. I tell you, Roy Tuscany will change your life just by watching the guy. He'll inspire you that much. In verse 1 through 7 of Proverbs 1, your blessing is on the way. Walk in peace, love, and joy, that it is already arrived. And this was a big thing that my pops talked to me a lot about, is like, start walking in the place where you're on your way to, right? So like walk as if you've already arrived in that spot. And if the watch is going to bring you joy, why not have joy on the way to be able to get the watch? Because once you get the watch, it's not going to make you happy anyway. It's not going to bring joy anyway. So be happy, like act as if you already own it. And this was a big thing that he taught me as far as in business it gave me a leg up, an unfair advantage, because whenever he told me, if you ever work with a company, right? So when I took a position with Robert Cromie Salon years and years and years ago, he said, I want you to walk in with ownership mentality. He said, if you can own it in your mind, someday you'll own it on paper. And so, walk in with that ownership mentality. And if you can own it before you ever do on paper, it's amazing what can happen in the transit or the building of people that you can do. So your blessing is on the way. Walk in peace and love and joy, that it has already arrived. And in verse 8 and 9, fill your heart and your mind with hope. So this is the thing that I notice is when hope is lost in a organization, in a relationship, in a business, in a community, when that hope is lost, it's very hard to repair it. So you need to protect it as as much as humanly possible. And that just means by saying something and doing something and making sure that they're in line. If you could do that and you fill your heart and mind with hope, it will reward you tremendously, but also make sure that you protect it, because hope is one of the most important things that you can ever have in any culture that you build. In verse 10 through 19, silly words from silly people will try to get you to do silly things. Whenever I hear the word silly, I just always think about my mama. And my mama is always like, don't be silly, boy. Like, and silly words from silly people will try and get you to do silly things. If you avoid silly things, you'll keep a smile on your face, right? And so in verse 20 through 23, or 20 through 22, is listen up and be counted wise. I thought wisdom was always like what you spoke, but to be counted wise, you just have to listen. And imagine that, like, if you stay curious in what it is that you're doing, you ask questions and you just listen, then people will think you're wise. The quietest person in the room is the person who is most of the time considered the wisest, because they're just taking it all in. But what do we try and do as human beings? We try and be the one that is, spitting out all the words. We want to say the same. We want to do all the things. And I tell you, if we can listen, and that's the thing that I need to learn, is if you can listen at a high level, it'll change things. In verse 23, wisdom is simple and often overlooked for the complicated. Think about simplicity of wisdom, right? So if you build the people, let the people build the business, right? There's one business in the world, and that's the people business. You take the people out of the business, you have no business at all, right? I mean, think of the simplicities of these things. If you want to build a company, you want to build a brand, you want to build a relationship, think of this. First of all, we look at the culture. What is the culture, and have we been intentional with it? Have we written it down? And, if we think about it, it's an idea. If we write it down, it's a system. So we think about that culture, right? What we want to be able to accomplish with it. Number two, we look at the vibe of it. How do people feel about the culture? We take it a third to processes and procedures, or your systems. Your systems are nothing more than a list of your screw-ups, right? And then we take that to the productivity. Can you look at it and track your productivity and measure it? So you look at that productivity, and then you look at the innovation, because the innovation will come from people feeling free because they have a culture, they feel good about it, they understand the processes and procedures, they know that it's productive, and then that gives them freedom to be able to try something else, try something new, and innovate. And once they innovate, then the last part is the ability to adapt immediately. And if you can adapt immediately, your reward will be immense. But if you don't adapt immediately, it's kind of like, it's like finding out the fashion trend 4 years too late. Just wait 20 years, then it'll come back in. But 4 years, it's a little too late, right? The simplicity of things. Think of those, and don't overlook the simple wisdom for the overcomplicated nonsense. In verse 24 through 33, as we finish up, is now will never expire, so start now. Now will never expire, so start now. See, I'm so thankful for the Panerai guy in my life, because when I hear that last one, now will never expire, so start now. Like I ran out to him so happy that he had given me the watch. But I would have never had the opportunity to get the watch if I hadn't talked about what he was passionate about. So by talking about what he was passionate about, talking about what others were passionate about, then it opened up for him to be able to express something and bless me in that time. But when he blessed me and I got so happy, then he dropped the bomb on me. If all it takes is a watch for you to be this happy, someone should have given you one a long time ago. See, I'm so thankful for the Panerai guy and the amazing timepiece. Although as the lifelong principles that he left with me that talk about what other people are passionate about. If the watch is all that you needed to make you that happy, then someone should have given you a watch a long time ago. Those were the real blessings. I never saw the Panerai guy again, but his legend lives on. So my question today to you is, are you talking about what other people are passionate about? And finally, what is that watch that you're waiting for? I hope you had a phenomenal day. I want to encourage you, send out a note of encouragement, handwritten note of encouragement to someone today. Write it out. I move my hand like this. If you're watching me, write it out, do it analog as much as possible. Join our Substack, come to the Vibe Experience. And I hope you have an incredible day filled with peace, love, and joy. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because